My headlines this evening.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by Deluxy Superfix Tile Cement, Heaven Insecticide Spray and Coil, Fecal Spray Starch, and Apart Foods.
My Life Insurance.
Farmers warn of an imminent food shortage as government fails to address fertilizer shortages.
Also this evening, total ban on importation of poultry and poultry products from neighboring countries in force as Ghana confirms outbreak of bird flu in some parts of the country.
Parts of the main road linking Inase and Menzaza communities in the Lembele districts of the Western region cave in following 2 days of continuous downpour.
Also this evening, Ministry of Tourism and Creative Arts embarks on initiative to boost domestic tourism as patronage of tourist sites by foreigners reduced drastically from 1.1 million in 2019 to 200 in 2020.
On the international front, rescue crews racing to find survivors of floods that have wreaked havoc across Western Europe, killing more than 150 people.
We have details of these stories and even more in the next 60 minutes. We appreciate that you could join us this evening.
Let's look at the details. Now, the Veterinary Services Directorate of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture has confirmed the outbreak of the highly pathogenic avian influenza disease in some parts of the country. The disease, otherwise known as bird flu, is currently in the Greater Accra, Central and Volta regions.
The outbreak of the disease follows the detection of similar cases in neighboring countries since January 2021. In a new statement, the ministry said through effective surveillance and disease control management, the Veterinary Services Directorate has prevented the extension of the disease into Ghana until now. The statement said the zoonotic nature of the disease calls for public alert and vigilance to mitigate the possible impact on the poultry industry and public health in general. The ministry therefore suggested some measures for immediate compliance. These are a total ban on the importation of poultry and poultry products from neighboring countries where the prevalence of the disease has been confirmed, a ban on the movement of poultry and poultry products within and from the affected regions and districts to other parts of the country, and strict inspection and issuance of permits to cover the movement of all poultry and poultry products from unaffected parts of the country. Intensification of public awareness and sensitization by regional coordinating councils and district assemblies, especially in the affected areas. Cases of the bird flu disease were previously recorded in 2007, 2015, 2016 and 2018, with a significant economic impact on affected poultry farmers.
So that's the latest coming through from the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. And in order to curb the spread of a bird flu in the country, the ministry has put in place a number of measures. I'll quickly run through those measures by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. And it says that the total ban on the importation of poultry and poultry products from neighboring countries where the prevalence of a disease has been confirmed, that has been activated. There's also a ban on the movement of poultry and poultry products within and from the affected regions, that's the Greater Accra, the Central and the Volta regions, to districts and other parts of the country. Now, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture again says it has intensified public awareness and sensitization by the regional coordinating councils and district assemblies, especially in the affected areas. And those three regions are the affected areas. The ministry says it has identified the bird flu, and it is indicating to individuals to be on the lookout so they do not consume any of the affected bird species. Let's speak now to Dr. Patrick Abake. He is a director of veterinary services at the Ministry for Food and Agriculture, to give us a lot more details into this particular development. We appreciate that you could join us here on News 360, Doc. What's the extent of the outbreak? Which areas beyond the Greater Accra, the Central and the Volta regions have been affected?
Well, so far, these are the areas of confirmed the outbreak. That's the Greater Accra, Central and Volta regions.
So how do we know, for example, that the affected meat species have not found their way into other regions?
For now, from what we have done so far, those affected farms, either the dead natural will destroy all the beds, so there's no way that affected beds could be sent to other parts of.
We know that in years past, for example, in 2018, there were more than 11,000 bird species that were destroyed because they had been affected by bird flu. I mean, just last year, we also had an outbreak in parts of the country. Now we're having this latest, and you're telling us that you have destroyed the affected birds from all the farms?
Yes. Either they died natural or we've destroyed the rest, yes.
Okay, so assure us. So, for example, myself and Aisha, when we go to the market to go buy meat for consumption, what are the telltale signs to look out for so we know that the meat we are buying is not affected?
Well, I mean, there's some of the signs, the symptoms. Well, to the ordinary man, once the birds have been slaughtered, but from the farm we can describe some of the symptoms, but once the birds have been slaughtered and sent to the farm, the one thing you should look out for is the coloration of the legs and then the combs and wattles that are unusually reddish. But once they are alive, we have other symptoms that indicate that this is the disease. For instance, when birds are alive, we have discharges from the eyes and the nose, we call nasal and discharges. And then the eggshells are always soft, the birds cough and they sneeze, there's decrease in egg production, lack of coordination in the birds, and then generally they don't have appetite.
All right,
so
thank you very much.
When the birds are alive, but when they are slaughtered, the only thing we look for is that maybe the coloration of the wattles and then the legs and that sort of thing.
We appreciate that you could join us. Dr. Patrice Abake, he is a Director of Veterinary Services at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture there. So now you know what to look out for when you visit the marketplaces to buy your meat. Aisha.
Right, Komla, we all have to be on the lookout. Parts of the main road linking Inase and Menzaza communities in the Lembele district of the Western region have caved in following 2 days of continuous downpour. A culvert constructed over a river that meanders its way through the road has also caved in, making that part impassable. According to eyewitnesses, the incident happened Saturday morning after a downpour the previous day. An approaching private car unfortunately got trapped in the caved-in area. Occupants of the vehicle were, however, rescued unscathed. We're staying a bit further on this. Bright Ezra, he is the Lembele NADMO officer. He's going to give us more detail on this particular development. Good evening, sir, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, so thanks for having me on your line.
Before now, we were told commuters were stranded and trapped in a vehicle was still stuck in the cave-in. What is the current situation?
The line is not so clear, so if you can come again.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I was asking what the current situation is.
Currently, we've been able to bring the situation to order. We've taken the vehicle out of it, and we've made sure that we barricade the area in order to prevent drivers from running through it. So currently, we've protected the area.
But have there been any casualties? Are some people hurt or any of that?
No casualties.
Well, some have said that what happened was a minor landslide, that the NADMO is working in order to ensure that everything is brought together? Because there seems to be a lot of danger. Is that the case?
Actually, it's beyond even the district, because the creep is very large, such that the district cannot even fix it. So this one will call for a national action. And the place is a very busy place, because it is the road that links Jomoro to the Inase market. And when you enter the Inase township, we only have two routes, one linking Jomoro and one linking Isiema. And Inase is a busy place, especially on Tuesdays. So now that the road is blocked, it means it's going to put pressure on the other one. And Tuesdays, I can't imagine what is going to happen.
Well, but what are you doing to ensure that residents can move around the area easily, because there seems to be some kind of danger in there?
Okay. In ordinary days, we have the international road, which also link Menzezo. But on market days, where a lot of vehicles will come to town, if they choose to use the same route, which links the road to the road that links the international road, when they use that only road, it makes it to put pressure on it. And I can't imagine what is going to happen. These days we gather to the everywhere, and it's going to pose a lot of threat to life and property of that. Yeah.
Well, we hope that the situation will be brought under control soon enough. Thank you very much for your time. Bright Ezra is Elembele NADMO officer. He was giving us updates on the situation in the Nyinase and Menzaza communities, where some places caved in following downpour in the area continuously.
Let's do some other stories now. And residents of Awudome, Chibu in the whole West District of the Volta region have embarked on self-help initiatives to fix their own roads. The roads are in deplorable state, compelling the residents to mobilize their own resources to fix them. The Awudome Chibu township is situated beneath a mountain that separates the town from Kpomvi, Chito, Anyirawase, and other satellite communities. This has exposed the town to severe erosion affecting infrastructure. Of more concern is the road network, which has been rendered almost unmotorable. However, calls on authorities to address the challenge have not received attention. Construction work on the main Chibu-Bethel Germany road, which began 4 years ago, has stalled, and the start of the rains has further aggravated the already precarious situation. Commuting within the community is extremely challenging. The chiefs and opinion leaders engaged residents to take their destiny into their own hands. They first levied every resident, both home and abroad, to buy logistics and materials towards fixing the town roads. The people then engaged in communal labor to fill potholes, construct drains, and other auxiliary road works. Dr. George Agri is an opinion leader and the brain behind the initiative.
Hopefully, we think this will be done in a month or two. We should be able to restore the road completely and patch it. We know there are some drainage problems. As you can see, there's a road there, uncompleted. There's another road at the top there, uncompleted. And they all bring a lot of water into town. So we're trying to construct this gutter to evacuate as much as we can the water from these two ends.
A pastor from the Bethel Church International and a resident of Chibu, Reverend Gershon Osei and Enoch Amejiro, an opinion leader, shared their frustration about the abandonment of a project.
The road was bad, but when the construction started and abandoned, then the road became worse, as you can see it. We don't have cars passing as they were passing. This is a major route to Germany market, one of the biggest markets in Volta region, which is in South Dain district. But because of the road network, most cars diverted to a long distance way, Asikuma or Todome, the other side.
One thing we complained about was the size of the gutters, because our place is very slopey and the gravity of the water is almost every time high. So we told them 0.6 gutter could not do it, but if they could do something like 0.9, which they ignored.
Scrap dealers at Agbogloshi have relocated to Tichamante in the eastern region, turning down government's proposed site at Ajay Kotoku. They, however, want the Greater Accra Minister Henry Korte to fulfill his promise by providing them with water and electricity at their new site.
The scrap dealers refused to relocate to Ajay Kotoku, claiming the space allocated them was too small. The scrap dealers purchased a 50-acre land at Tichamante in the eastern region where they will relocate soon. They intend to construct a hospital, school and a place of convenience at the site. General Secretary of the scrap dealers, Salifu Salim, indicated they will ensure effective and proper usage of the land.
We have taken it upon ourselves. We have been a team to go to Kumasi and see how they are burning the e-waste, to bring us that plan, so that our members will take it, someone who can use his resources to build it, and will do it for a charge. That is how we are planning. We are not going to do it as we were doing at the other side. You know, over there we didn't own the land. Anybody at all can come around, get some small place, put his shelter, and then he starts staying there. You can't remove him. But for here, we are owning it ourselves. We will take it that anybody who is coming here, you are coming to do business. Aside business, nothing will go on here.
He added they will ensure the burning of e-waste will be done according to best environmental standards and practices. Salifu Salim called on the Greater Accra Regional Minister to fulfill his promise of getting them social amenities at their new site. He assured residents of Tichamante and its environs of their total cooperation.
Let's take you now to the eastern region, where patronage of tourist sites there by foreigners reduced drastically from 1.1 million in 2019 to only 200 in 2020 due to the ravages of COVID-19. The Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Awal Mohammed, in a bid to revive the industry and promote domestic tourism, has toured 2 eco-tourism sites in the region to assess the facilities there. The minister, together with his entourage, was at the Bonso Ecotourism site and the Boti Falls to assess facilities being put up by concessionaires under the public-private partnership. The Bonso Ecotourism site has a protected forest cover spanning 16.5 hectares, a semi-deciduous forest with indigenous trees, a habitat to several butterfly and plant species, as well as nature trails. The African oak tree, locally known as dahoma, used as a form of communication or raising alarm in the olden days, can be found at the Bonso Ecotourism site. It was previously managed by the Plant Genetic Resources Research Institute of a Center for Scientific and Industrial Research before the public-private partnership agreement. New additions include a canopy walk, horse and zip line, and a herb garden for weddings. The Boti Falls has also seen some infrastructural development. The cascading water over the cliffs high above with the encasing Huhunya forest gives a magical moment at the base of a fall. It is a seasonal upper and lower fall which takes its source from the river Popong. To get to the base, one has to take 250 concrete stairs. Concessionaire of a facility, Richard Kilson, said the COVID-19 pandemic has negatively impacted business.
Most of the issues of diabetes, hypertension is stress related. People don't rest. People don't learn or don't know the need for us to take time off. Tourism is there to help us.
He revealed plans are underway to complete 60 guest rooms, set up a signature zipline and swimming pool, as well as start an afforestation project. He was, however, worried roads leading to the tourist attraction were inaccessible.
People don't want to come. Even when tourists want to come here and they go to VIP station and all of that, they will outprice them out just because they don't want to come here.
The Tourism and Creative Arts Minister, Dr. Awal Mohammed, promised to collaborate with the Roads and Finance Ministers to get them fixed.
What we intend to do is to work with the Minister of Roads, the Minister of Finance, to fix the roads. There's a new paradigm in tourism. It's not just business as usual. Tourism is money. Tourism is jobs. So what we have to do to make sure that it's done, the road is done, we'll do it. If tourists come and things are not straight, they are not sure of their safety, don't come back.
He asked the concessionaires of a tourist site to put up appropriate structures in conformity with the Tourist Sites Regulation 209 LI 2393.
repeat tourism is very important. When they come and they enjoy the place, they want to come again. So we are happy that some work is going on, but we think that there's a lot more for them to do here. They need to work with the district assembly, work with the GTA to ensure that all the structures are in conformity with the LI 2393.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Akwesi Agyeman, pointed out marketing will be critical to reviving domestic tourism once the standard of facilities at tourist sites and link roads are fixed.
We've been told by the operator more facilities are coming, so we will do our bit by marketing the sites and marketing other tourist attractions in the Eastern region.
In other stories tonight, electronic money is used as a monetary value for making payments from one user to the other. As the Bank of Ghana prepares to launch a pilot of its digital currency in September, Nanekia Mensah Brampa explores the process of the Sandbox pilot project.
Electronic money or e-money is a digital currency with access points through the computer, mobile phone and other electronic devices. Just like cryptocurrency, it is virtual money that could be used to make transactions. However, digital currencies are regulated from a central bank.
Infrastructure is majorly provided by a recognized regulatory institution compared to other forms of crypto that the infrastructure, let me say for want of a better word, is community regulated. That means that multiple community members have the infrastructure base to manage it. So with digital currencies, central banks are the key drivers.
According to experts, e-money comes with some security, unlike the cryptocurrency. Reason why central banks handle them. Before any government central bank adopts a digital currency, piloting in a sandbox is key. This exposes the advantages and disadvantages.
If you want to deploy a digital solution or digital currency, because it's quite new, because we don't know how its dynamics will be in the market, you create a sandbox environment where people who are interested in playing in that space are given the opportunity to test their solution, and then the results are evaluated, and whichever decisions have to be taken are taken.
The Bank of Ghana in September will pilot its first ever digital currency. Per the pilot, a few people or groups are expected to use the digital cedi on their mobile phones. First Deputy Governor Dr. Maxwell Afari shares clarity on the nature of the currency.
It is fiat money, it is cash on its own, which means it does not have to be backed by any other thing. It's just like your paper cash that you are saying that I want to keep part of it electronically, which means that you are free to take any transactions, decisions with that digital currency, similar to you do with cash or check or any other forms of payment. And that's what the central bank wants to bring into the space.
For the Chief Executive Officer of Dream Oval, Derry Dean, fintechs are prepared, and the move by the central bank will push the digital drive agenda.
If you want to pay cocoa farmers, if you want to pay national service persons, people can have digital wallet that the key government, anybody can then do the transactions in. So digital currencies, for me, what the Bank of Ghana is doing is timely, because the trend is showing that that's the direction that economy should go.
As of June 2020, at least 45 central banks were deeply researching into digital currencies. Digital currencies hold some of their biggest potential for the 1.7 billion people globally who the World Bank say lack a bank account. Ghana's pilot project will determine the stand of the central bank in exploring the digital currency. Nanekia Mensah Brampa, TV3.
On to some security-related stories now. A senior UN advisor on conflict resolution and peace building, Emmanuel Bombande, has hinted there will be more protests in Ghana to ensure that duty bearers work in the interest of a Ghanaian. He stressed the need for security agencies and the personnel to strategize its crowd control tactics to avoid killing the citizens. He was speaking on key points.
When there are protests, when there are demonstrations, there will be an effective coordination of how our security agencies are able to deal with these protests in such a way that two things happen. One, that the right to demonstrate and protest is preserved and actually allowed, but at the same time, a crowd control mechanism in terms of good practice is institutionalized to ensure that when people protest, it does not result in killings, as we saw in Ejura.
Right.
If I frame it in this overall broad objective, the question is, how have we come in terms of the investigation so far? And I think that's what Ghanaians would be more interested in seeing as an outcome.
Let's go to the Upper East region now, where the fate of farmers, especially those in the Kusog area, hangs in the balance following severe shortage in subsidized fertilizers. Now, hundreds of farmers continue to struggle across the 6 districts of Kusog for the commodity, which is hard to come by.
The northern sector of the country has only one major farming season, and it depends heavily on rainfall. Again, the farmers rely on fertilizers for improved yields. However, access to the commodity is a major challenge this year in 5 districts in the Kusog area of the Upper East region. The affected districts are Boku West, Boku Municipal, Garu, Pusiga and Timpani. Farming in these parts of the country starts from late April. However, this year's cropping kicked off in May due to the late start of the rains. And by this time, farmers were expected to have fertilizers in stock. But this is not the case. 2 clear months into the farming period, the farmers are still moving from shop to shop in search of fertilizer.
There's no fertilizer in the area, and the farmers are suffering. We don't know what is happening. So we're appealing to the authorities to make sure that we have enough fertilizer to do farming. Because they're planning for food and jobs. We need fertilizer.
The only resource is just the farming. And we depend on only one seasonal trend. We have one season. And if that season elapses, we are completely in trouble. There's no gold here, there's no oil here, there's no cocoa. All we depend on is just the rainfall in our farms.
Let's just stay with this particular subject because we know farmers in some parts of the Savannah and northern regions are also lamenting shortage of government subsidized fertilizers under the Planting for Food and Jobs program. They say the situation could result in food shortage in the country if government fails to intervene. Here's a report by Christopher Amwakun.
The Planting for Food and Jobs program, launched in 2017, is a flagship agricultural campaign of government. The crop component of the program aims at promoting food security in the country. Availability and access to subsidized fertilizer to smallholder farmers is a key component of the program. This is because the smallholder farmers dominate the food crop subsector. Unfortunately, this year, the narrative on availability and access to the subsidized PFJ fertilizer is not a good one. Farmers in some communities in the northern and savannah regions lament shortage of the fertilizer. In an interview with some of the farmers, they lament the situation will impact negatively on food security. According to them, the ones available in the open market are expensive, hence the need for the PFJ fertilizer, which they cannot access.
Last year, no ben fertilizer abantem amaya dia mokoni abru.
Last year by this time, the government subsidized fertilizer was available, so we bought some, but this year we cannot get some to buy, and the one in the open market is expensive.
Oma ni fertilizer no embra na yemfan ye duane enye sa akombe kuye.
Afiwe die fertilizer na abaso no abande krampo no manyi dis krampo sa ba. Nti hawo na beba at 2002 no abayedin.
As it stands now, our crops are suffering due to the lack of fertilizer, and by 2022 there will be serious hunger due to poor yield. We need help.
My dog 5 acres. Anka me here fertilizer be say 10 bucks.
The zonal chairman of the Farmers Cooperative in the East Gonja municipality, Paul Kwesi, wants government to intervene.
This year, we went around, even I went to a Greek director, they were able to give extra test to farm. Look at my farm. But how to get the fertilizer? Now, when you go to the market, they are telling you the big one is 1.8 or 1.9. Then the minimum one is 80 cedi. But now, in the problem, no money.
The manager for the 4-hour nutrient stewardship program at Ghana, Bashiru Juma, is worried farmer access to PFJ fertilizers is a challenge. He said immediate steps must be taken to address the situation.
The challenge has been that because of the high interest and high demand, there is a clear disconnect between the quantity of fertilizer that farmers need and the quantity of product in the market. Because the product is heavily subsidized, there is very heavy demand, and the extent to which you are able to address access going forward, I think it will help all of us. And then,
meanwhile, suppliers of the PFJ fertilizer in the affected regions say it is difficult getting supplies from the Agric Ministry, hence the shortage.
Let's still stay with this subject a while longer, because the head of programs and advocacy at the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Dr. Charles Nyaba, is requesting government scraps the subsidy on fertilizers to increase competition among local fertilizer companies to boost supply. A 50-kilogram bag of fertilizer is currently sold on the open market at 180 cedis and between 48 and 53 cedis for the subsidized ones.
Global increase in fertilizer prices makes it difficult for our companies to import and sell at the price that government asked them to sell for farmers. Because if you take last year, for instance, they were supposed to sell, they were selling at 168. But this year, government is asking them to sell at 150. So me engaging them, they indicated that it is very difficult for them to actually sell at the price that they were asked to sell to be able to make profit. So what we are doing is that we had a conversation with government, and then we said, look, looking at what is going on, we are ready, we have the money, we just want the fertilizer to buy. So if government can adjust the prices to make it possible for the companies to supply, we are ready. So government have done that. So you can see that instead of the subsidy of 48 Ghana cedis, it has shoot to 53 Ghana cedis. So we are hoping that with that adjustment, from tomorrow onwards, there will be increase in supply.
This seems like a situation that demands urgent attention from government.
Precisely, and we made efforts to reach out to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. They've generally been evasive and unwilling to speak to the issues their farmers are raising. But subsequently, we'll be doing an assessment of the impact of a shortage of fertilizers on the farmers in that part of the country and even across the country right here on TV3.
We definitely need to hear from government some consolation so that the farmers know that everything will be okay. But you are listening to us and watching us right here on News 360. After the break, there's more news. Stay with us.
Zoom right here in my house. Hey!
Look up there. Why are you using inferior pen?
It was a mistake. I no check.
Acrobat2, I'm going to knock you out.
I know, sir.
You deserve quality.
Don't make mistakes. Stop!
You did the right thing.
When you are going to buy a paint, don't look left, don't look right. Go straight and grab the luxury acrylic paint. No be any painting be paint.
The luxury acrylic paint.
Paint champion.
I love football. Football can be a dirty game, on or off the pitch. Even when I'm trying to score at a party, stains find a way of tracking me down. But I don't worry at all, because I have Cleansoft. Use new Cleansoft 360 Deep Clean, a unique formula with active ingredients and enzymes that gets rid of all stubborn stains and leaves your clothes smelling wonderful. Cleansoft, my favorite. Cleansoft 360 Deep Clean, clean all.
Welcome back. Now, stakeholders of the blue economy have met in Kofreja in the Eastern region to develop an implementation plan that will give full effect to the National Integrated Maritime Strategy. The strategy will address challenges and harness the benefits along the country's 540-kilometer coastline.
Lack of proper coordination within the maritime space over the years has contributed to challenges that confronts the Gulf of Guinea states, including Ghana. The National Integrated Maritime Strategy, developed through an interagency process led by a working group under the auspices of the Security Governance Initiative Office of the National Security Secretariat, is expected to give solutions. The implementation plan will strengthen the framework for maritime governance. National Security Coordinator Major General Francis Eduamuafo said the transnational organized crime at sea threatens maritime business.
It is thus necessary to adopt policies and challenges and strategies that will help the nation address ocean governance and maritime security challenges.
The Global Maritime Crime Project Manager said developing a robust blue economy is dependent on security of her maritime domain.
The UNODC is confident that by the end of this workshop, all of you together will be able to come out with a strategic implementation plan that may be adopted.
Meanwhile, some maritime experts and industry players have been sharing their ideas on Ghana's move to get a national integrated maritime strategy. They spoke to my colleague, Josephine Ncheje.
Ghana is pushing to develop a sustainable blue economy with an integrated strategy. This is only dependent when we have a safe and secure maritime domain.
At the moment, as a country, we are approaching ocean governance, and we have different institutions and agencies that have got different mandates. And their mandate all is supposed to contribute towards ocean governance. But we lack synergy and we lack effective cooperation. So the integrated maritime strategy is supposed to coordinate activities within the maritime space so that we can have better outcomes and we can have greater effect.
Ghana is even far behind in developing a maritime strategy. We should have had that by now. First of all, because Ghana is a coastal nation and we have over 25% of our populace using the maritime domain. We have over 10% of our industries sited in our maritime domain. And for that matter, when you look at the whole sector, especially with the fishery sector, we have over 1 million people engaged in the fish value chain.
Maritime has a large domain and plays a significant role when it comes to GDP and any country's economic growth, especially when you are blessed with the location of as a coastal state. This integrated maritime strategy offers us that opportunity where we can launch into really harnessing the resources we have as a coastal state.
Let's look at some health stories now. The West African Postgraduate College of Medical Laboratory Sciences has called for mass COVID-19 testing in the regional bloc. President of the college, Professor Nafiu Amidu, said there will be no need to close Ghana's land borders if there is an effective testing regime.
The call for mass testing of the populace has become necessary following the soaring cases of COVID-19 and the subsequent recordings of the Delta variant. At the annual general meeting and scientific conference by the Ghana chapter of the Laboratory Scientist Practitioners, speakers were keen on devising a lasting solution to current and future pandemics. President of the West African Postgraduate College of Medical Lab Scientists, Professor Nafiu Amidu, said governments in the sub-region must consider investment in international standard laboratories that can facilitate multiple diagnoses in the face of emergencies. He noted Training of adequate medical laboratory practitioners and mass testing of the public are key to contain the coronavirus. He said the closure of Ghana's land borders is not needed. Rather, government should make available an efficient testing regime to intercept cross-border infections.
Individual countries have done enough to be able to combat the COVID within the environment. But looking at the Africa or West Africa the way we are, our borders are not well controlled. So no matter how much effort you put in as a country, people are going to continue crossing the unapproved borders and then reinfect and then create problems and then threaten all our efforts. So we are saying that we need to be ready for cross-border effects. We've done a lot by mounting the testing site at the airport, but looking at how many people pass through the airport and how many people cross the unapproved border a day, we see that our effort is not enough.
Acting chairman of the West African Postgraduate College of Medical Lab Scientists, Dr. Ben Mensah, wants the COVID-19 safety protocols enforced, especially with the wearing of the face mask.
Massive education regarding face mask wearing, massive education regarding adherence to the protocols continue to be what we should not take our eyes off. Once we're able to prevent the infection, the stress that has to do with problems on facility, strain and all those will be brought to a barest minimum.
Other speakers called for tougher sanctions for lab scientists without license.
Now, the police, the Immigration and Customs Service at the Paga border in the Upper East region have resolved to punish any security personnel found culpable in activities that will affect the free flow of goods and other movements. This resolution was met after engaging some haulage truck drivers over alleged extortion and assault. A report by Tanko Mohammed Rabiu.
Haulage drivers have had issues with the police, customs and immigration service over alleged distortion and physical assault of their drivers and driver mates. The recent incident happened when some drivers were assaulted by police personnel at Yape in the Savannah region. The representatives of West Africa Haulage Drivers Union, together with Ghanaian haulage drivers, met at the Paga border to interact with heads of the security services to iron out their grievances. The West African president of Haulage Drivers Union, Rabo Brahima, who spoke in French, was unhappy about the current situation.
The Ghanaian security personnel at the border intimidate our drivers, and this is reducing the confidence in doing business in West Africa. All we demand from the Ghanaian authorities is that due process must be followed.
The Northeast Regional Coordinator of the Ghana Haulage Drivers Union asked the security not to pay lip service to the issue.
We want the Ghanaian authorities to know that if our requests are not granted immediately, we will advise ourselves, and no ECOWAS member state can stop us.
The Deputy Upper East Regional Police Commander, the border commanders of Immigration and Customs, assured the drivers of maximum cooperation and will punish all officers who go contrary to the rules.
Now, the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners says it takes full responsibility for the illegal mining menace in the country. Deputy Chairman of the association, Benjamin Annan, however, admonished the government to liaise with the group to address the problem, cautioning the current strategy is bound to fail.
We as an association in charge of managing the interests and welfare of licensed small-scale miners in Ghana take full responsibility. I'm repeating, take fully responsibility of the happenings in the small-scale mining sector today, because we fail one way or the other to help our members in line. And most of our members also fail to respond to good counsel, which has resulted to our current predicament, where the state has imposed an implied ban on all forms of mining, whether licenses or unlicenses, in or out the red zones in Ghana. Your Excellency, your predecessors used the same approach to fight illegalities in our communities. They failed. Quite recently, Your Excellency, we spent $20 million for Operation Vanguard to stop this canker. Sikanashi.
You're still watching News 360 here on TV3 from the News Hub on DSTV channel 279 across our social media platforms TV3 Ghana. After the break, Aniela Alute has the latest from the world of sports, including the coronation of Accra Hearts of Oak. Please stay with us.
The show was a jar oba anyone concrete dim.
The groom is sick.
What?
Malaria.
Malaria. Lufat. Lufat.
In Jija, woman malaria and kawan to them. Lufat, a malaria drop a coupe.
And now you may kiss the bride.
Entrance Pharmaceuticals and Research Center. And I Lufat. Lufat, a two malaria sentence.
FDA,
Welcome wherever you are on Planet Football.
You can go anywhere in the world, but nobody feels football like we do.
And they sing, they dare to sing.
It's a rhythm.
1-2.
1-1-2. Football.
La football.
Soccer.
1-2.
That moves us.
Salah to settle in. There's no feeling like that feeling. It's so nice. It's so nice.
Nothing compares to DSTV's unbeatable football offering. So stay connected to watch the best football on the planet.
Sasso insecticide spray and coil.
It's time to do sports on News 360. I am Aniela Alute. Now to our first story, it is all about Accra Hearts of Oak, and they have, after a decade, been officially crowned champions of the Ghana Premier League. Now the coronation took place in Sogakope following the game between Hearts and Wafa, which ended in a 1-0 defeat for the champions and led to Wafa being second runners-up of the 2020-2021 Ghana Premier League season. Let's take a look at the highlights for the event.
Wafa wrapping up the Ghana Premier League. Wafa denied with a header from Kunedu Yadom. Robert Adu scoring full marks with a save from Sabi Akwad. And the moment of pride and joy for Wafa arrived when Ate Yusufu stepped forward and converted brilliantly for the opener and the only goal of the game.
Yeah, brilliant finish, brilliant strike, brilliant effort. There was a goal that was going to win this game. It was going to come down to these fine margins here. It was a clean goal, really, really perfect hit by him, and one that is befitting to win a fixture as big as this.
And they've deserved it. They've been the better side. They've been the best team in the league throughout. But none was able to deliver the silverware. But this generation of Hearts of Oak players and technical men will be extremely excited. So that's George Amwako and Linda Anson. There you go. The Phobians are champions of the Ghana Premier League. They have their Premier League title. They never say die until the bones are rotten. Hearts of Oak are 21-time champions of the Ghana Premier League.
Warm-up Plus this morning featured two former Hearts of Oak players, Sam Johnson and Hassan Mohammed, who was captain of the squad over a decade ago when they won the Ghana Premier League title. Now, the pair expressed satisfaction at Accra Hearts of Oak current form and hoped that the glory will continue for many years to come.
When you don't get the league, definitely you want to get a cup. And us and Kotoko, they are the clubs that if they don't win something in a year, it's a problem for them. Or they are the biggest club in the country. You can't take it out of them, I mean, you can't rule that thing out. So every year, if not league, they need to get a cap to show in a year as in Kotoko. So if you don't get it,
then it will be.
So definitely this knockout per se is going to be interesting, even more interesting than the league.
What put the ice on the cake is when Kotoko sold us striker Kwame Poku. I said to myself, no, Kotoko cannot challenge the league anymore because you don't sell your talisman striker and then you expect to win the league. So Accra Suffolk, they are going to win the league even for the next 2 years.
The final round of the Ghana Premier League kicked off this afternoon, and Inter-Allies, who were beyond redemption, were treated to a stunning 7-0 loss to Ashanti Gold. Meanwhile, Accra Great Olympics managed to pull a 2-1 victory over Dreams FC, leaving them out of belief at least for their final game this season. Round 24 will be concluded tomorrow, and the relegation battle is set to see its end. Liberty Professionals are up against King Faisal, and it's worthy to note that the two are merely separated by a point. Legon City's face 11 wonders for Ebusiado as it is Bechem United, and Omina Sharks are locked in a game that is not as important to Asante Kotoko as it is to them. Christian Achu has moved to Saudi Arabia on a 2-year deal, and the club in question that he has signed for is Al Raed. Earlier today, Ibrahim Mahama, Ghanaian businessman and godfather of Damian Smith, also known as Shaka Zulu, congratulated him on his recent achievements of emerging winner of Ghana's Strongest Champion of Champions edition when he paid a courtesy call on him. Ibrahim Mahama praised Smith's efforts as a young man and added that he had a very bright future ahead of him.
Damian is a very determined young man who's got a much brighter future than he knows. But fortunately, from the first day I saw Damian, I knew he would go much further than he anticipated. So when he came and told me that he wanted to further his career abroad, I was so delighted and happy that where he was headed had a more encouraging future for him than where he was. The youth of today should emulate Damian and let them see how far he came, where he came from and how far he's gone, to be able to also know that they, with hard work, as Damian's hard work, they can also succeed. So congratulations, Damian. This, I know you bring much bigger and heavier medals to come, and I think I would love to also carry it because I think I was part of the history of why this happened. Yeah. And Ghana's Strongest, and congratulations. Thank you very much.
That will be all for sports. I am Aniela Alote. For more news and updates, it's 3 Sports on all social media platforms.
International news tonight. Rescue crews have been racing to find survivors of floods that have wreaked havoc across Western Europe, killing more than 150 people. Many people are still missing after record rainfall triggered severe floods in Germany and Belgium, and the death toll is expected to rise further. Submerged cars are being searched for, as well as bodies, as floodwaters begin to recede. Switzerland, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands were also hit. European leaders have blamed climate change. Experts say global warming takes torrential rainfall more likely. The world has already warmed by about 1.2 degrees Celsius since the industrial era began. In Germany, where the death toll stands at more than 100, President Frank Walter said he was stunned by the devastation.
That'll be all for international news. Entertainment is right up next.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by Puma Drinks.
Now, filmmaker and manager of socialites Moisha Budong Kofi Asamoah has said widely circulated reports that the actress has sold her properties are untrue. Kofas, as he is affectionately called, urged Ghanaians to stop trolling the actress and rather show her love and care as she endures trying times. He spoke on Simply Showbiz.
Her situation is not something that should be taken on the lighter note. I mean, it could happen to anybody. It could happen to any of us. And these are what I personally call spiritual, psychological issues. And also the news about Moisha selling her properties, that's never true. So I want to say, as a member of the management team, as a friend, Moisha has not sold her house. She lives in the same property where she's lived all this while. Moisha has not donated any amount or any fiscal properties to any church whatsoever, to any pastor whatsoever. She has not done any such thing. I don't know how and where Ashamodi has that information, but I can say, and I'm saying on authority, that Moisha has not. She lives in that house. So which house did she sell? She drives her other 2 cars. Which cars did she sell? The cars are in the house now, this minute.
Meanwhile, showbiz critic Ricky Tennyson says Moisha's repentance and the drama surrounding it looks staged. The outspoken media maven suspects the drama is part of a scheme to win attention. He spoke on Showbiz 927 on 3FM.
This whole Moisha situation. From when the news broke, I started reading meanings. I was like, Charlie, this is more like a Jumal, because I went back to the page when she posted and she actually tagged a few people. I went to the page of the church. I saw a couple of people there. This Nigerian blogger, Yemi Baba. He appears to be more or less like their front liner, like their media guy.
Okay.
You know, and I realized also that every week they bring in a star. Go check. As I tell you this, do this exercise. Okay. Every week they appear to bring a popular personality into the church. Every week, and when a popular personality comes, they tend to make a lot of noise about it. Okay, so this week we had the opportunity to blah blah blah, then they'll tag the person, they mention you and all of that. I began to read meanings into it. Actually, how they go on.
What they happen?
Yeah, it appears like this is an attempt to get attention. You know, and then I saw some other girl that even Aisha tagged. Oh, she's more like a model and an actress.
Victoria
Aisha tagged her.
Michaels?
Yes. So she's also more like pivotal, you know, at the church, trying to also connect a lot of these celebrities. Seligali go there, if you are them, so a lot of people go there. So then I began to poke holes and ask questions about the whole concept around the running of the church. And then also I realized that, okay, this is one big man also from Nigeria who is beginning to operate. So it was mixed, you know, feelings for me. And then also on the day she confessed, it was interesting to note how a lot of bloggers were there on that day. If you watch the videos, it was more or less like, oh, Moisha, they come confess today. So make we invite. It's like you doing a press conference and asking bloggers to come around and come and film. That was more or less of the activity that went on that day. So I realized that, oh, Charlie, this is a planned thing. This doesn't look real to me.
Well, Komla, I don't know what Ricky saw, but this is quite a sensitive subject.
Precisely, and especially as we've heard, you know, some men of God say that this is a time where she needs prayers, she needs encouragement, because she appears to be going through quite a bit.
Well then, we should all pray for her.
Absolutely.
And hope that everything will be under control. That's all for News360.com. My name is Aisha Yakubu Hale.
And I am Komla. I do music with Crystal. And Kwame Aye is right up next. Please stay with us.
When we becomes even closer. Building partnerships. Redefining the norms. Because when we connect, being there becomes possible. And new ideas come to life. Stay ahead and stay connected with MTN Business Broadband. Superior internet solutions that drive your dreams. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh or call or WhatsApp 0244 308 111.